Guess who's back? It's Muchacho, as if you didn't already know. This one should be a good one, aren't they all? It's going to be a two-parter, so make sure you're subscribed to the Audiotent channel in order to avoid any future disappointment and violence. So it's probably worth me explaining a little bit about the title to this video. Why is this only aimed at progressive house and melodic techno? Well, it's not. It will work with any genre, but genres do tend to have their own styles, and effects are no exception. And what do I mean by effects? Well, I'm talking about builds, crashes, noises, anything that breaks up a track and causes drama. I'm not talking specifically about reverbs or delays, for example, although they will of course be part of this video. Let's take tech house as an example. There is an extensive use of 909 sounds, and as such you'll hear a lot of tracks with 909 snare rolls and cymbal crashes. These can and do work in progressive house, but they're processed a lot differently. Tech house would have more of a raw sound, whereas progressive house producer would likely process and blend the snare rolls a lot more. It's really genre dependent. Melodic techno, for example, makes use of a lot of noise for builds, crashes, and general percussive noises. Deep house doesn't really. So what I'm going to do is show you some of my favorite techniques for creating strange and unusual effects to give your tracks a bit more, as I said before, drama. Hopefully you'll be able to follow my thought process and adapt these techniques and make them your own, as opposed to just copying them. Most of this is about experimentation. 90% of the time I won't have a plan, I'll just try things in a different order and see what comes out. So as ever, I've created a short piece of music to demonstrate these techniques. I'll give you a quick playthrough and describe briefly what I've done. Okay, what do we have here? The bass line is from Diva, of course, and it's from the Scope preset pack. The preset is called Gallery. The ARP is from the Division pack and it's called Prodigy. The pad is from the Surface pack and is called 25, I guess. And the percussion I've used is a mixture of the Glitch and Gradient sample packs. So we've got a decent loop here, but we've also got something else, something a bit more strange. I've recorded in my own voice, singing a beautiful couple of lines. Take a listen and be amazed. Oh, wanna dance with Muchacho. I wanna feel the heat with Muchacho. Yeah, I wanna dance with Muchacho. I wish Muchacho would love me. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. This track couldn't possibly need anything else. That vocal just tops it off. But even though I agree, it does sound perfect. We can make it even better. And this technique is great to use with vocals because the vocal doesn't even have to be in key. So skipping out some of the boring dragging and dropping of effects, I'll explain what I've done. You'll notice I've added in an analog instrument here, and it's playing this ridiculously simple melody. The melody will need to be simple as I've added in a huge reverse pitch delay after it, using the Valhalla delay. Other delays are available, although they're probably not as good. So that's sounding a lot more interesting, but you'll notice I have the channel muted. This is because on our tear-jerking vocal, you will see I've added a vocoder, and the carrier has been set to our analog delay. So let me play you what that sounds like without that huge delay. Utterly pointless. I guess it could work if you had a busier melody, but let me turn that delay back on and you can hear what it's done to the vocal. Sounds a lot better. Now, I'll be 100% honest with you, this effect works better with shorter vocal clips, like someone saying a short phrase. It can work with singing, but I'd recommend chopping up vocals into shorter parts. It just seems to fit in the track better. I literally recorded myself singing because I think I'm hilarious. So I've added in a bit of automation on a delay and added a bit of overdrive to get the vocal to stick out a bit. Take a listen in the context of the rest of the track. Well, now, that one hasn't really worked out as well as I'd hoped. I told you I make this up as I go along. However, it can work out on better vocals as it did for me in this example. Much better. I like how it kind of created this shimmering pad that you simply wouldn't be able to create with regular synthesis. Where this technique is really powerful is you can spend an hour editing and then tweaking it, then get bored of it and try changing the carrier to a different sound. Sometimes you'll get pleasantly surprised. Okay, so I'm done experimenting with my wonderful voice. Let's create something to help build our track into a climax before the so-called drop. Now, I'm a firm believer in using the elements already present in your track to create effects, as opposed to continually adding more and more new sounds. They tend to just fit better into your mix. With that in mind, I'm now going to send all of the audio from our percussion group into a return track. Here I'm going to drop on some very basic effects to create a rising sound that should double as a building noise. So I've dropped a delay and a reverb. I've guessed the settings here. I think the key thing to remember is to cut out a lot of the low end and to have a bit of dry signal passing through the reverb so it isn't completely washed out. Now I'll automate the send so that the building progresses more as the volume is being sent to our return channel. Let's take a listen. Sounds okay, but let's take it a step further and record the audio coming from our return channel. In order to do this, we'll set up a new audio channel and simply record all of the sound coming from the return channel. The advantage with this is we can now manipulate the audio to our liking. First, let's mute the return channel so we're not hearing the effect twice. And I'm going to lower the volume of the channel. Right, what I want to do now is create some more drama. So let's head up to this little padlock up here. And what this does is locks all our automation in place. So if we move any clips or copy them, the automation stays where it is. Here I'm going to delete all of the melodic and percussive content before the drop, just the 2 beats right here. This will create a short period of silence, accentuating the drop. Sounds good. It would be even more pronounced if we chopped a bit of the recorded effect out. Let's lose maybe just the last beat. Perfect. We could take this a lot further by adding a redux effect to make the sound kind of collapse. Let's give that a go. Okay, that's it for part 1. Stick around and join me for part 2, where we'll go over snare rolls, drum rolls, and also some big sizzles. See you on the flip side.